What's going on, everyone? This is Sherry, and you are tuned into She Said What She Said, the podcast where we interview badass women in the sports world and beyond. And if it seems like I'm out of breath, I am. During that countdown, I realized I had something I wanted to share. It was in the other room. So I had to sprint, but I'm not really like a track star like that anymore. So the sprinting was oh my gosh, then all the pets followed me, but I made it. So tonight we have a guest that I've mentioned a few times that this person's coming. Don't worry, they will be on here because she is one of the original badass women in my life. God, I was trying to think. I think I've known her for 25, 26 years. Way back in the day. And so this woman is like everything awesome in the world. Like if you think of a crazy talented woman, she is beyond talented. So back in the day, back in the state of Michigan, I mean, she ran the state. She was setting all types of records in the hurdles. My senior year, she actually fell in the state meet in the 300-meter hurdles, got back up, and still got fourth. It was so impressive. They even put a notation in the official results that she fell because that's how awesome she was. I believe she was the Gatorade Track Athlete of the Year, maybe once or twice. Then she went on to USC. Okay. And from there, if you guys know anything about USC track and field, that is one of the powerhouses. And she was a powerhouse. Let's see, I think she got up to number 2 all time in the hurdles. I know they've had some other phenomenal hurdles after her. But man, she was out there. She was a 6-time All-American at USC. If I counted right, I had to go to the media guide and do some counting. So if I counted incorrectly, my bad. Then after that, man, she just kept running. And I would say, she'll probably say this. I'll ask her what her highlight of her career is, but I'm going to guess it's the world indoor silver medal. That's right. She has represented Team USA on a few fronts, and she has a lovely silver medal. And since then, man, she's still doing it, man. She's still coaching. She took over our track club that we had, our legendary coach. After he passed away, he wanted Candice to take the reins, and she has stepped up. She has produced a ton of All-Americans. She's got all these D1 sprinters. And so this woman is the ultimate badass. And let's bring her in, Miss Candice Davis Price. Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Quite an introduction. Thank you. I didn't know you were talking about me. I appreciate all that.
What, you didn't know I was talking about you today? You thought I was just bringing you on to talk about somebody else?
I mean, a little stroll down memory lane was nice, and for it to be from someone that's known me, you didn't have to put years on it, but yeah, it sounded.
Yeah, I mean, a quick Google search will tell people how old we both are, so that's okay. Oh man, I can't remember the last time I saw you in person.
I can't either. I mean, this feels kind of normal given the pandemic. This is probably how we would reintroduce ourselves to each other.
I know, right? Hey, are you on here? But I see you, all the time on the Instagram, on the Facebook, on the TV. You're apparently on TV out there too. I mean, you are just doing everything.
Just trying to stay busy.
I hear you, girl. Same. Absolute same. But yeah, so really, what we're talking about today is you. You are a superstar. You're one of the, like I said, one of the original superstars that I have known. And so wanted to, highlight you, spotlight you, and talk all about you, your story, your journey, maybe a few of our more treasured personal memories.
Yes.
But starting back, so okay, I'm thinking of a very young Candice, semi-wild child, not too wild. We don't need to get your mom on here. Which way? I love your mom. One thing I like to ask track sprinters: what age or what grade did you realize that you were fast?
Yeah, I can't even give myself credit. It was actually a music teacher that saw me beating boys, like on the playground, and then she saw me
Mhm.
like an elementary school day. So this teacher goes to who was Westfield and says, "Hey, there's this girl," and so on and so forth. And then my mom gets introduced to the track coach, and Westfield is like, "Yeah, everybody thinks their kid is fast,"
Mhm.
and I'm like, "I guess." And I don't think I started realizing I was fast maybe until high school because the girls I was always training against were faster than me. So in the midst of Ann Arbor Youth Track Club, I was just average because everyone was a star. But
Well, you were
outside of
comparing yourself to people that were like 6 years older than you and were all Americans themselves and state record holders themselves.
and I think that kept us humble. And that's something that I
Mhm.
carry over to the track club now is that once we stepped outside of Michigan, then you were like, damn, like I can compete. Like we're in the cold, people discount us. We go down to Georgia, we
Mhm.
go to Florida, we go to Texas, and we're still hanging. And that was always when we really realized when we came back from national championships that we were that deal.
Yeah.
So,
It's funny though, like because I was kind of the same way. Like I was fast, in my elementary school, right? And then I was fast in middle school, but like it was only, sixth grade against sixth grade or, seventh and eighth. And Ann Arbor's not that big, so you don't necessarily think about it. But then, Robin Woolfolk, they were like, yeah, you need to, send her over that track club. But
but you
again,
were
it
like
was
fast for a white girl, and that was like not a thing then. Like that wasn't a thing. So if
no,
you
that
were just
wasn't.
fast, you were a fast white girl beating everybody.
Fair, fair. But even that, it was still like, again, there were so many like good people, right? Because I had Robin Woolfolk was my neighbor across the street.
Oh
So,
wow.
like, yeah, that's how I know her. And so, yeah, you see her and you're like, that's a fast woman.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it
Yeah,
was
for
like
sure.
starting to go to like age group like AAU, USATF meets, the
Mhm.
old ones at Martin Luther King High School, where you realize, oh, like I am one of the fastest at this meet, and then I was like, oh, I'm one of the fastest at the state, and then did you go with us to West Virginia?
I might have. I don't know.
That would have
I
been your
might have been,
summer after your seventh grade
might have been
year.
a rookie. I was always the rookie, so
Yeah, yeah, and that one I was like, oh, I'm still making finals at regional. Like, I guess I am fast. That yeah, it's weird how that like kind of works, and I think again having all those older people that were a lot faster than us it
so
helps.
people are asking me how I get this link. Can I just send them the link that you sent me on the Instagram?
Yes, you can
Okay.
send them the YouTube link, and you can
Okay. Got it.
certainly. I'll drop it in the chat for you as
Okay,
well.
perfect. And I'll share it. Sorry, I'm like, I sent them
No,
a
it's
picture
fine,
of what we
girl.
were doing today, and they're like, I forget that they only know me as their coach. So I'm like, hold on.
Oh yeah, no, you're
Let me
more than just a coach.
let me drop. Let's see here. Okay, I got it.
Got
Got
it.
it.
So I just dumped it in our private chat too.
All right, perfect. Sorry, that's real. That's
That's
actually
fine.
reality.
That's fine. I love it. I love it. Yeah, because you are just their coach, but they
That's
probably
all. That's all they think. I bust them down too, though. Don't let it be silly.
it's like how we were with Vicky.
Oh, I'm a little more Crystal, but I've become Vicky because she keeps me balanced. So, anyways, I
Yeah.
don't want to let you go back to
No,
where
no. I mean, this is what we're doing, man. We're talking. We're talking. And that's who you are, right? You're a coach now, but like, yeah, these girls going to better recognize who this woman was. You're being coached by a true champion. Um,
it's definitely tough because when we were in this club, like again, you didn't know you were great. You didn't know you were doing crazy, insane workouts. You didn't know, like you just didn't know, and it was so humbling. And the last generation, her name was actually Britton Bowen. She just graduated
mhm.
from Ohio State, and she was the last transition of Westfield.
Okay.
And I'm still trying to hold those pieces on, which is just a challenge because this generation wants 1,000 likes without doing 20 abs.
Yeah, absolutely. And, so Westfield was a legendary coach. And I actually, do you have this book by any chance?
No.
It's a history of the state of Michigan track and fields.
What?
Um, yeah, and there's a whole. It's every single result. So you're in here all the time, and there's a whole thing on the legacy of Westfield. Oh my God. I'll find the link and I'll send it to you at Amazon afterwards. But legit, there is our guy. So this man is an absolute legend. And so we won like pretty much every single state championship. We were routinely ranked one of the top 10 programs in the country. I don't even know how many D1 athletes came out of our program. It was wild.
I'm kind of glad we didn't keep track because I'm keeping track now.
Are you? He has it. You know those printouts that he would give us? Like, I know I still have some of those. He would list like, he lists like everyone that, not even just D1. I mean, if girls that wanted to run D3, he would put that same time and effort into helping them find, a program for them. So when we talk about Westfield, like we didn't realize that we were basically doing a program that helped us transition to our next level, because a lot of people, I mean, I saw it, I'm sure you saw it, freshmen come in to a top D1 program and it is like, I'm sorry, what? You want me to do what? We have to work out in the fall?
Absolutely. There is like one off the top of my head, Brandon Giles at Oak Park Motor City Track Club, which has been like a huge friendly rival of ours forever.
Yeah.
Last of a dying breed. The expectations, balancing what was special about Westfield, the track for sure, but the expectations we had at home, he bled those into the track.
Absolutely.
And that's why when it was like, when did you realize you were fast? Like my mom didn't care anything about me being fast on the front of the newspaper or getting all these. She was like, yeah, so your room's not clean. And Westfield's like, yeah, so you're not coming to the track meet. I'm like, wait, what? So I appreciate that now as an adult that I'm working on adulting, is like, I have those expectation for my kids. I constantly get your favorite is the fastest. My favorite is the one that comes on time. My favorite is the one that does what you're asked. My favorite is the one that like doesn't have excuses. Sometimes that happens to be the best, but you're right. Last year we had two Division 1, one Division 2. We had Ohio State, Wayne State, and Madonna. So when people tell me my effort only goes in, it takes a lot more effort to get a girl to an NAIA school than it does a Division 1.
Facts, big facts. Yeah, because they don't have the recruiting budget. So you have to go and find the schools. And yeah, I've had some smaller coaches, they're not small, but you know what I mean? Some like smaller schools like talking about trying to recruit, or like 2-year programs of like the constant recruiting and how hard it is to like find, people. It's like, yeah, because when you're doing D1, it's a lot easier to just look at
either you're hot or you're not.
You could look at major track meets results and that's your list. But those smaller schools, it's like, well, where do we find them from?
Right. And that was something, any woman that comes from our program knows, like, there was never a difference if you're going to USC or if you're going to Olivet. The same level, you got the same coach, the same level, the same commitment, the same headache, the same beat down. So equality was never an issue at NRV Youth Track Club.
How many times did he get kicked off the team?
I hope my kids aren't listening. I really hope they're not listening, because enough to probably have forgot to count. Man, I got kicked off the team a hot minimum 6.5 times, minimum. And the worst was when I didn't have a car, so I had to sit in the lobby and watch everybody else train. And that was tough. And at that time, I probably was at least a 1-time Gatorade Athlete of the Year, probably a 7-time All-State or 2-time All-American in high school. And he's like, you can go home. And I'm like, you're going to train me tomorrow, though. You can go home, Miss Davis.
Yes.
And I would just be crushed. So
today you're kicked off.
Oh, you're done. Give me your uniform. He's going to come to my house. Like, can I have your uniform? Or how about the time you said that you were going to see a teacher miss practice when you got your hair done? I'm going to need your uniform.
Yeah. Also, how much food did you ever take from you?
I think we kind of smartened up. The part of me coming in at 7th grade to see I could like hide the Teddy Grahams and hide this. And then you could pull out the front with the rice cakes, like you were just eating rice cakes, knowing you had things you weren't supposed to.
I got in trouble for having Twizzlers so many goddamn times.
So you know what? I bring Twizzlers all the time for the girls, because I'm like, this is a bit of rebellion in me, but it's the piece of like this generation. I gotta meet him halfway. So I'm like,
Yeah,
at least
absolutely.
if I'm bringing the thing to the party, then I can be responsible for it, rather than them running off to the, whatever, or their mom sneaking stuff to them. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm bringing Twizzlers now. But he
Yeah.
definitely took a hot dog from me at Bedford and ate the
Ooh.
rest of my hot dog in front of me and put me on the 4x4. So
That sounds about right. That sounds about
absolutely.
Westfield. He was a lovely man. That's why I'm like, dang, but our coach taught us, I mean, let's be real. You were a little wild. I
Still
was a
am.
little wild.
You totally were fiery.
I'm medicated now. Apparently I need apparently there was a chemical imbalance up here. So
I love it. I love it. I love it.
oh yeah, but like it's like having us on all these. I mean, you needed to have that firm. I mean, he's German. My parents are German, so it's very similar to like
Your
the
parents were
household.
fantastic. Your parents were
Thank
fantastic,
you,
though. Yeah.
thank you. And they still ask about you. You know,
Yeah.
they're big fans of you. And I told you, like going through my dad's old race tapes, he filmed
I
like
got to
every
see
single.
them.
I have to, he was meant to send them to me, and so that's like on my to-do list is to get them. Then I got to cut them up so I can get your races out of there. So I was at least like watching like all of your like sophomore year races. And he's like, and here's Candice.
Yeah,
It's
your
like
parents.
he knew that you were going to be
I would
something.
love it because then like I wouldn't have to throw that aged filter the kids use on Instagram to make the video look like age. It's actually a VHS. So I'm excited to have some like archived footage.
Yeah, he converted the VHS, or it was those, but yeah, he converted those like old actual tapes into yeah. Oh my God, so crazy! Those crazy story when I was looking through your tapes. So out of because the world is a random ass place. One of my best girlfriends, who sometimes guest hosts with me, she ran at Morgan Park High School. Who
Okay.
we saw every year at Lavana
Chicago.
Martin.
Yeah.
Yep. And then she went and ran at Illinois.
Okay.
Same time as me over at Penn State. And so she did some hurdles, she did long jump, she did the 200, a little bit of the 400 in college. And so I was looking for, because she was trying to remember, it's just like Lavana Martin, her senior year. She's like, I knew I got second. She thought it was in the 200, and I got third my junior year. So I was like, let me find this race. I need to find this race. She didn't run the 200. She ran the hurdles against you, and you beat her.
Oh, wow.
Mind you, she was one of the best hurdlers ever in the state of Illinois, and you beat her as a sophomore.
Oh, man. Lavana Martin was that deal.
Yeah.
Westfield was doing some real crazy stuff because now, well, it's probably the same. Michigan doesn't let you go like 120 miles outside of your home. So
really?
I don't know if we were competing as Pioneer or NRB Youth Track Club when we
That was Pioneer. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, he probably was like right on the border. It's something weird.
Okay.
And so we run NRB Youth Track Club a lot everywhere just because Michigan just really hasn't caught up with the times. But that international, that's like international competing when you're in high school. To go to another state and to like have that type of interaction at a high school level, that's a big deal. Back in the day. That was
like before. I mean, it was like we had Morgan Park from Illinois. I think another Illinois school, Ohio schools, us from Michigan. That was a hot track meet. That was, and we won. I also have a video of you and B celebrating when y'all were named athletes of the year or the meet, and you were not aware. Yeah. You were not aware that you were on video. So my dad has like 12 minutes of y'all just cutting up from a distance. I'm like watching this, just dying of laughter.
Man, I can't wait. I cannot wait to see it. It's part of, when my first athlete won a state championship individually. She, we went to the state meet and they're looking at the hurdles and they're like, who's Candice Davis? And I'm like, who, what? And I still held the record for like 17 years. I'm like, what? And I'm like, it's yours to have. And the transition of like when you're training as a professional athlete, you're like, I can't coach anybody. And when Westfield was like, I need you to coach the team. I need you to get this girl to college. I was like, what? Like, you're asking so much of me. Like, I'm selfish. I'm in my mode. And I'm like, I can't do what you did. To realize there's a point, like I had to let go of trying to be who he was and be everything that he instilled in me. To see your athletes break your records, to just achieve the unfathomable. It just fills your heart whole, just like the feeling you had winning on the track. but it's just a weird space to transition into. And yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful for it, but it's just, yeah, they don't make him like him anymore. And when I reference it, like people are like, who, what? I'm like, everybody's gonna write a book report on Brian Westfield starting tomorrow.
Ain't that the truth? And look, I will get this.
You got the source right here.
Right. We can start right here, or we'll call Vicky and she will come and she will break that shit down for you. Speaking of the record, because you were also in Michigan at a time when another phenomenal hurdler was who I've had on my show, Tiffany O'Feely was on here. Okay. And when I was talking to her in the back of my mind, I didn't say it. I was like, I still had the record in high school.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was different. It was always interesting because we would compete against her in Ypsilanti, but they were in a different division. So we never met up. And then we got to college and the professionals, and she obviously got to run for another country. So we got to interact differently. But that's a small percentage to come out of like Ann Arbor, Ypsi area.
Yeah, it's such a small thing. And she's lovely. But I mean, it's still like that little piece of me that was
absolutely. No, absolutely.
Go Candice. So, and then also you and we also ran so many relays together with me giving you the baton. That was some of my favorite times. We were the 4x1.
Nice. We went to the state championship and people are, I said, you know, I put up 40 points at a state championship, 40 points.
Yeah.
And we won by 82. So I'm going to need you to do more than just be an alternate. Okay. And then, yes, 4x1, loved it. So when people are like, oh, well, I got the relays are everything. The 4x1, everything.
You know, if the state of Michigan didn't limit us to 4 events, your ass would have been on the 4x2 as well, and my ass would have been on the 4x4 as well.
Oh, yeah.
But he had to like draw some, you know, and we did it all in one day too, prelim, semis.
I tell the coaches, and that's a big, I've been really fortunate because I was able to have a career in college and professionally. So when I speak to my athletes, coaches know. I'm like, we're not in Georgia. We're not in Texas. We're not in California. This isn't a week-long meet. These kids are putting up these times back to back with less than 45 minutes between the 200 and the
1 day.
Absolutely. So they're ready for anything.
It's wild. Like in college, it'd be like, oh my God, I have to run 2 400s in one day. I didn't run 400s in high school, but still, it was like, woo!
Like, exactly. You get 3 days to run the 100 now. You get a prelim, you get a break, then you get the semi, then you come back into the final. Now you get a regional qualifier meet too.
Oh, my God. I would have loved that. I would have loved that. That recovery would have been absolutely phenomenal.
I would have loved that in an NAI, whatever, NIL deal too, along with the recovery.
Right?
Put that out there.
All these things that are coming out. I mean, it's phenomenal for athletes, like especially with social media and like if you're good at TikTok, Instagram, all those things, you can make yourself a nice little pretty penny.
As you should, because you're a starving college student. As you should.
Yeah, and like you don't even need to be that you know, the superstar. You just have to be good at creating content. If you had some, videoing your funny ass teammates or some shit.
A straight goof. You can be a straight goofball. You might not even have to be on the real team. You could be in somebody else's gear and they think that you on the team and they like, oh, the deal didn't say I actually had to play. I had to be in the uniform.
Yeah, exactly. I get the little uniform here. like that's not really, that's something you found in the dumpster. But you went, so after your phenomenal high school career in Michigan, setting every record, doing every amazing thing. You flew all the way off to USC. Where else did you take visits to? I actually don't think I know this.
Yeah, so I took a trip at the time. Texas was a hot deal. South Carolina just won the national championship twice. USC, of course. And I took some unofficials in the sense that, like, I went to Syracuse because we had a teammate there, Brianna Wade.
Yeah, Brianna was there.
I went to Boston College because we had some basketball friends that were there. I went to Purdue because they had a good coach, but I was like, it's a little too close to home. I went to Indiana. They had the #1 hurdler in the country at the time, Daniel Carruthers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I was trying to get a little off the beaten path just because I really wanted to kind of make my own. So those big like SEC schools and the big Pac-12 schools, well, Pac-10 at the time, realignment Big Ten, whatever it is these days. I just wanted to kind of like break the mold. And when I decided to go to USC, Westfield's like, are you sure? And I was like, not really, but it doesn't snow there. So and he's like, I'm just afraid because I was a wild kid. I was off the rails in the sense that I wasn't very focused. I had ADHD. I wasn't going to be medicated in college because I knew it would affect my performance. And there was a lot of concern about me going out, and there should have been, because it was very, very challenging, very, very challenging the first year I was there.
Do you think if the transfer portal was a thing when you were in college, you would have left and come back home?
Absolutely.
Or okay.
Absolutely. I had a lot, and I'm not, please, I'm not knocking, and I'm not saying, but like the whole mental health and the whole struggles and all that, like it wasn't an option. I was there. I had a scholarship. I got fat. I was overweight. I was unhealthy. I was making poor choices. I was not doing what was asked of me, and I wasn't living up to my part of the bargain. So the immature 17-year-old was saying it was everyone else's fault. I would have come back to Michigan, Eastern Michigan, anywhere. But my mom got on the phone and was like, yeah, you got to bite the bullet. Ain't nothing here for you. You going to go to Washington Community College? Is that what you're going to do after your face has been blasted all over the Ann Arbor News? And I was just like, and then I came back and I saw Westfield, and he was like, there's nothing here for you. There is nothing here for you. Literally, he doesn't curse, but it was like, get your stuff together. You got 6 weeks. And I was like, and at the time, my college coach was like, yeah, you can't come back here. I literally got kicked out of school. They took my scholarship. They took my scholarship away. You can't do that now either. And
sure can.
So I'm not knocking the mental health, but I will tell you that uncomfortable, unplanned situations gave me the strength to move mountains. The people like Westfield, the people like the people that were around me that kept pushing me. There was no, oh, come, let's talk about it. It was like, get your shit together. People have sacrificed for you to be here. Women, Sherry Green, Brianna Wade, Jamila Bowman, Robin Woolfolk, Angel Pringle. There are women before you that have done great things. So either you get it together or you're finna, and no knock to the community college, but I just was better than that at the time. So I ended up going back to USC. Like I had lost all the weight, got my life together, got right, popped back up on campus. My college coach saw me, didn't say one thing to me, but go sign your papers. And from that moment, I knew that it was like I owed myself and everyone around me to always be great, to always challenge and never have excuses, because I was in a $90,000 a year university and I was complaining because I was eating too good. So the whole like transfer report, like, oh, I'm about to go here because okay, well, unless your dad has a hedge fund and lots of money for you, any job, any situation, anything that you want is going to be adverse. So are you just going to say, hey, I'm going to hit up Indeed? Okay, I don't know how that works, because there's 15 million resumes on Indeed.
Exactly. And it's interesting too, because if you had, what we think of today's generation of parents of the coddling or the, oh, come home, and you did not need that type of love. I probably would have left Penn State myself just because it was kind of like my backup. Oh shit, I don't have a backup plan school. Because like when the program at Tulane fell apart, when I was like, before I signed, I was like, ooh. Like I didn't really have a good, it was kind of like my backup. So it was like not necessarily what I was looking for in a school. It's in the middle of Pennsylvania. Like what is there? What
people don't think, they think Penn State is the university, like it's Pittsburgh. Like next time,
or UPenn, like with Penn relays. That shit it was wild. And honestly, I probably would have transferred to somewhere like NC State, just like going to like Raleigh relays and like loving, that area. But obviously I didn't want to go through all of that. So yeah, there's a lot and it's interesting because I'm like, what would my life would have been if I had transferred? Obviously I stuck with it. And I love my time at Penn State. Chris Johnson came in as my coach my junior year and watch the Olympics. He coaches half the damn hurdlers on there, it's like, and his brother Boogie Johnson coaches the other damn half.
Yep.
So have that coach, man.
Yeah. And I'm not anti, I'll make it very clear because you probably have viewers and people probably watch this later. I'm not anti anyone else's journey. I can only testify through what I've been through. And I know that the coddling, I get the NCAA and I appreciate them now trying to protect the athlete. So if your coach got fired or transferred, or hell, your school lose accreditation, if you were maybe abused or in a terrible situation, absolutely utilize that transfer portal. But I can guarantee you, I can name Olympians, I can name football player Jerry Rice, I can name people, Carmelita Jeter, that have come from Division II. I can name Brashawn Batman Johnson that came from an HBCU.
Yeah,
so
sure did.
it will continue that. And not to mention women of color, we weren't even accepted into a Power 5 school however many years ago, right?
True that.
Tell them, Sherry. Tell them.
I had a few weeks ago, I had a woman that my sister's coached with. She had a basketball scholarship back in the 70s, just right after Title IX, just listening. Okay. She had to go to the school and try out for the team to make for Northern Colorado because they didn't recruit. It wasn't like a thing. I was listening to a podcast. It was Louisiana Tech kind of started that recruiting for women's basketball. Like, they had a good program. They're like, let's not just wait for these women to come to the school and try out. Like, let's go and travel.
Wow.
It's just so, and isn't it so weird? And then, yeah, it's definitely the women of color, the women from not the best areas were getting left out, because if no one had told them, hey, you can go to XYZ school to try out to get a scholarship, how the hell would they know?
And that brings it back to Brian J. Westfield, right? I'm going to keep it 100. I get kids, parents that aren't in my program. My program is free. I'm free. I don't charge anything.
Always been free.
Always been free. My coach didn't charge. He gave us stuff out of lost and found. He never accepted any money. And I get parents that ask me, can I call the Howard coach? Can I call on behalf of your kid that doesn't even come to my... I'm like, my coach was handwriting letters. Okay. My coach was maintaining relationships. He was taking care of kids. And I'm like, damn, like this kid, I won't say, but there's kids that would be on our team like, man, he dogs Westfield and he still goes hard for them. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still a bit, still trying to work on not being so petty, but it's like what it can do. What it can do to pay it forward. I'll give you a quick example. I have a girl who was on my team. I call her Lil Foot. Her name is Jalea. Typical, just trifling attitude. Show up to the track, maybe jog a lap, got an attitude, could barely jog 200 meters. Long story short, this is the girl that ends up going to Madonna. And her going to Madonna is no different than me sending a girl to a Power 5 school. What it changed for her life, her direction, her self-esteem, the expectations she has. So when people come, could you call or do you know how much work it is to maintain? And not to mention the level of trust that these coaches have. But I was like last of a dying breed. Now looking back at seeing the things Westfield did, I was just like, wow, like I kind of feel there was a sense of me being able to be prepared without knowing it where I'm at now.
Yeah, I never thought about like, how do all these college coaches get my home address?
There's no Instagram.
All this shit just came in the mail. It would just be like all these schools, and it'd be shit like Oklahoma, and you're like, how'd you get my number?
I was like, oh, you got the wrong person. There's not, nah, they ain't see my transcript. He's like, just fill it out. Just fill it out.
Oh man, yeah. I was like, no.
Yeah. Now, I remember you just had to wait till track and field news came out to get results. You had to wait for printed stuff. So yeah.
The newspaper, well, you had to find the newspaper the next day, and we would see like who of us was on the front page and who was on like the little inserts, and there were so many of us to choose from. It was always a little, and I have them all.
I have them all too. I'm thankful to my mom. She kept all of those, and I was just like, oh, that's so silly. That's so silly. And now when I look back, she's got like every Ann Arbor news I was ever on, which is more crazy that now I am the coach at Ann Arbor Huron, which I rep to the fullest. Unfortunately, my alma mater, we had some challenges, but
that's a nice way to put it.
It is. And that's me being as responsible and as adult as I can. But Ann Arbor Youth Track Club still remains live and present. But I have pictures of us holding up the trophy at River Rat Stadium. I have pictures of us winning regionals. So it is it's bittersweet probably for my athletes, but I think it gives a nice connection for me to like that I'm in Ann Arbor. But yeah, Westfield, last of a dying breed.
Absolutely. Back to your time at USC though. So I did not know you got kicked off the team
Oh yeah,
temporarily.
that's honestly,
Temporarily released, but they didn't fill the scholarship. So I guess they were hoping for you to get your shit together.
yeah, and I'm glad we kind of got to that. It's a story I rarely share because, and I don't know why. I mean, my kids, my girls are always like, "You need to be on the gram. You need to be doing this. People will like this," and I'm like, whatever is going to come out that gets me followers or gets me this, like, it's got to be authentic to me. It's not going to be me posting my workouts or me whooping them in the hurdles. And those type of things is like, yeah, I literally was kicked out, didn't have my scholarship. When I look back at it, I'm like, damn, nowadays kids get kicked out and they just be like, what do I even do? So yeah, that was a momentum changing moment for me in my life.
And did you get your first All-American honor your sophomore year?
Yeah, and that's the point. No disrespect to the mitten, but I guarantee you, had I came to University of Michigan, like, nah, like
you wouldn't have been on it. They didn't have an All-American level 4x1 there,
bro. They got their stadium says podium finish. Like, who's hanging banners that says podium finish? Why is that acceptable? Jim Harbaugh will never hang a banner that says podium finish. So yeah, I came back my sophomore year and dogged it. And I was like, I'm about to be an All-American. I'm about to be this. Set realistic goals that it wasn't like I got to win NCAA championships. I was like, I need to make the finals. That's all. I want to make the finals. And that kind of, that became like the pedestal that I needed. But then when I look at my senior year, which I got beat out by Tiffany O'Feely, that freshman year really, really crippled me. It crippled me because I was playing catch up my career. So,
and another point too is something I don't even know if you've ever thought about it. You're really young. Like me too. Like my birthday's end of September. You're mid October. Like we could have easily been in the next grade below. So when you're talking about like playing catch up, like you started college when you were 17 years old. You legit you were jailbait walking around the campus.
Right? That's a whole nother podcast.
Right? I know. I never thought about yikes.
I try not to think about it. And and just to be honest, like I'll go back. My mom was like, you were immature, you were impulsive, you had ADD, but you were so tall.
ADHD is
yeah. That was before it was like baggy full of Adderalls. It was like, oh, you need Ritalin, you have a real problem, and you were like, oh my gosh, what is this? But my mom was like, but you were just so tall, and it just looked weird. So she definitely had grappled that. But you're right. When I look, I'm like, I'm always 2 years younger than everyone else. So there's a whole maturity. Like if I'm running against 18-year-old girls, I'm 16. So yeah, I like how you said that. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean, but it like because my parents made the same decision, but it was like my neighbors were going, to kindergarten, and I had so much energy. I think I was an ADHD, but I was a blind climber. All the rock climbing videos that you got now, I'm a climber. So it was like, I think my mom just wanted me out of the goddamn house. So it was like, just get out of here, please.
That I believe. I mean, just keep it 100. Like, you got a sassy ass mouth on you. I mean, she said, what? I'd be like, she said, oh man, which is, yeah. So they think my mouth is bad. They don't even know 16-year-old Sherry Green.
Shoot, man. Yeah. I needed that firm discipline from Westfield because yikes. Oh man. So Westfield's saying, if you were in trouble, young lady.
Oh yeah.
If you were in a ton of trouble,
oh yeah.
Woo, talking to boys when we were down in that underground track when like the football guys were in the little weight room. Then
I know. And that's been a struggle of mine. So now I have like a couple of guys. I got this kid named Giorgio, this kid named Cam, Adore. And it's a struggle for me, right? Because I want young men to have strong female role models. Absolutely. But I'm going to keep it real. Like, my women need more of me than they need. Yeah. So there's the balance of like, if you rock with me and you listen and your parents are good, then we're straight. But if you got any bit of attitude, you come in late, you think you finna go to the NFL and cool, bye. So there's that balance because I'm like, Westfield never had boys. He never had guys. And Andre, is one of my coaches. He coaches with me, and he's
Oh,
like,
he does?
yeah. So I had to
Oh,
literally beg him, because let's keep it 100. He did not have a Brian Westfield. He had
no,
a
he
Don,
didn't.
and that really crippled what his vision for a high school coach was. And he's like, no,
Yeah.
dog, no.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, he was like, after his first season, he was like, thank you. I'm everything I wanted my coach to be.
Mm-hmm.
So he provide that balance. Like when he can tell, he's like, they probably feel you're challenging him as a man. He come down and he puts the break down for me. So that's been an interesting dynamic. So trying to recreate Brian Westfield, Crystal Westfield,
Mm-hmm.
Vicky, Coach Bernardez. I'm trying to build that team. I got a young guy. His name is Roderick Wilson. He was at EMU. He ran the 800. I'm trying to build that. And I'm trying to slowly get anyone from Ann Arbor Youth Track Club that's in this area that wants to help me build up this program. Trying to create that dynamic, because as the program is growing, it's just me. And Westfield, we needed that balance from Vicky. We needed that from Crystal. And now it's just me. And I need that balance. And I definitely find value in other people that are just as good as me and as committed.
Shoot, we're about to put a little post up on our separate Facebook group, like, hey, who's in Michigan? So I would help you if I'm in Illinois, so I'm not much help. I'm not much help from over here.
Well, even the fact that when I tell the girls, like when Jonay, we had the pandemic and Jonay was on, I don't know if you watch Michigan news, but the governor would come on and then Jonay would come on as the emergency. And I'm like, what? She was like the emergency medical something big. And then
shit.
Yeah, like running stuff like masks and mandate. And I would just be able to be like, bro, she was in my track club. And
right.
Like, so you saying you're in Chicago, Jamila being in DC, like Robin being, that right there I just sent a girl to Vanderbilt, Lauren Fortson.
Yeah, you did. Lauren Fortson was there.
So I probably wouldn't even be as like, oh no, I said Lauren Fortson is on ExxonMobil commercials with a Geo hat, doing all types of cool stuff. So even though you guys aren't hands-on on the track, I think my personality fits that. Everything that you are all doing is it is still a vital piece of it.
It's wonderful too, of like how many of us like still stay, in touch. Like, I mean, Jamila and Angel both used to live in Chicago. Okay. So I hooked up with them. I started playing like flag football. Like I know half of my friends because of them. You know what I mean? And it's just like that kind of that craziness of like, yeah, Jamila and I went to high school together. Like,
bro,
and people like, but then they'd be like, y'all were on the same high school? Because like she, Georgetown, but like, damn, what was your high school like?
When somebody's ready to come from me, I'm like, yeah. So my girl's little George is actually a Harvard lawyer professor. Do you want this smoke? And she's on like the quick dial text. So the connection, I like to keep my mouth running because I'm like, I know someone in every jurisdiction, every city, every profession. So yes, you guys are on the ground. But and when I do call or when I need something, when I need donations, like everybody comes through. So you guys are definitely contributing in a different way.
I know when you mentioned about possibly having like a fundraiser, I told my mom, I was like, hey, by the way, I volunteered you to help. Just, FYI. Bye.
Yeah, so my vision for the fundraiser was like, as I said, Westfield's, the spirit that we have in us. I need your story. I need Robin's story. I need Jamila's. I need Rachel Eiler's. I need Clarissa. I need everyone's.
Yes.
I need my 1600 meter girls to be talking to my 100 meter girls. And I need that. Like, it was just so authentic with us. It's something that I'm missing. There was no black, there was no white, there was no ghetto, there was no nothing. We were just like our own demographic. And that, why I coach for free, the time like I take away from my family, I need that feeling at the track. I have to have that feeling or I don't want to come.
Yeah. And it's interesting too. Like I definitely took that same attitude to Penn State because like, obviously I'm a sprinter.
You are a sprinter.
I'm a sprinter. Brooke was there, so I was other sprinters.
Robinson.
Yes. But I befriended all the, I would hang out with the throwers. I would because they were all my teammate. You know what I mean? And you can see like people definitely had clicks, but like I felt like I lived with some distance runners my senior year. I hung out with the throwers here. I went to the sprinters there. It was like every single person on this team is my teammate. And I want to try to befriend every single one of them. And I didn't like it as much, but it's fine.
And you know what? There were times that I didn't like people as much, but I'm like, I will throw these hands for them. Like
Ain't
I will
that the
throw
fucking
these hands.
truth?
I'm like, I'm from Ann Arbor, so I don't even know nothing about
Shoot.
that. But
Right, but I'm gonna try.
Like we'll talk that mess from the bus, but you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like we from Ann Arbor, we from the suburbs, we know our boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was definitely that, like, it sounds so cliche, but that sisterhood that it just can't be duplicated. So being able to have even this type of engaging conversation with you, to see this relationship, or talking to Moshi over text, I need that in my club. And there's glimpses of it. And right now it's more like, I got to get these girls to college. I got to get this money for them. I want what they're having, like I have with you. They do. Britain is there. It's happening a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe we just can't duplicate it. Maybe it was just that deal. Like,
I mean, it's easier and harder, right? But I mean, yeah, you would want them to have people that, you know, in 20 years they could just hit up and be like, "Hey, how are you?" And it's like, not a days went by. Like, how are you doing?
Days
you
went
know,
by.
I mean?
And given the, again, I'm not knocking, given the mental health, and that's such a heavy issue. With us, we had, like, we knew what was going on in each other's lives. If someone was crying in the locker room, there was no shade, there was no embarrassment, there was no talk down. Like if there was divorce, if there was people were hungry, people, I mean, I remember seeing Westfield buying people food and breakfast in the morning. I like didn't get it. Or I was seeing him taking kids home, and like their home situation. Like now kids are just so, the social media, which is a cliche again, it blinds them to the reality of how they could heal each other. We didn't have that. Like I had things going on at home. My girls at track knew, and like it was that release.
Yeah, it really was. I don't know where I would have been.
I know where I would have been. 16 and pregnant with a cigarette. Just is like, what track practice? You want me to do what?
Right. Like, that sounds really hard and tiring. No thanks.
Like it kind of like hurt my back a little. I think I'm gonna go to Pilates or something.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna lay here and watch some TV. Yeah. No, it was.
I'm gonna catch my Netflix. Can I wear my AirPods when I run? Is that like punch you?
Oh my God! Can you imagine, Westfield, if we try to wear headphones?
Headphones. And you know, I'll be honest. I got a really good girl, Mackenzie Robinson. She's solid. She's who would she be most like? She's like a Jamila, very together, very organized. Kind of like let her do her thing. But the headphones, I'm like, my coach never let us wear headphones. And I'll never like remember him. I mean, I remember him saying like, well, what if I need to tell you something? And I know I was like, well, damn, I don't want to miss anything he's finna tell me, because I'm trying to, you know. So again, breaking that barrier without losing the teenage group. But yeah, we never wear headphones. Could you imagine coming out there with some Beats by Dre? He will beat your ass like quick.
He would beat your ass, and then the Beats would be they would be beaten into the trash can and then chalked over the fucking fence.
Like, he'd be like, bring your mama, your daddy, and your uncle. I probably know him. We probably go to church together.
Probably singing the choir together. Like anytime I got in trouble with Westfield, my parents were like, well, you probably deserved it. So
Exactly.
no sympathy at home. It was like, yeah, well, you probably did it. If you said you did it, you did it. Like, this isn't working. But back to your
walking around with $500 headphones. Come on now,
please. Mine are like $30 ones, because I break them or I lose them. You know,
break
so
them
I get another.
Dog ate one.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I didn't spend a lot of money on some, especially little ones that just come out of your ear. Like, no. I think those are maybe $40 ones. They were great. They're wonderful. Anyway, I'll do an ad for them, right? But back to your career, right? So post USC, you kept running. Where did you train at? Did you stay at USC?
I trained initially. So USC is real funny acting. If you didn't go to USC, you cannot train on their track. And then if your coach is like real finicky. So that was tough for me, because I had a good college coach, but I didn't have a great college coach. It wasn't what it is now. Like I had a Carmelita Jeter in that boy. Like, man, I'll be Sydney McLaughlin right now.
Right? Shit.
So I met this guy named Larry Wade, and he was like, I want to train you. And I was like, I want to be trained by you. Like, let's go. and immediate dynamic connection. He was in Pasadena. So if you know anything about California, if you're in Michigan, Pasadena is maybe, let's say, Ann Arbor to Detroit, 45 minutes. Cool. No. And Los Angeles to Pasadena on the 10 and the 110 on a normal day, you about an hour, 30 minutes. I had no contract. I was just barely putting it together, meaning I had no money. So I had to put gas in my car, and all I could do was afford to get to practice at Pasadena City College at the time.
Damn.
So that's how I got to Pasadena City College. But the I need to train you and I need to train by you made us enough money that it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
I did not know you were trained by Larry Wade.
Shut up.
I did not know that.
I'm the original. Oh, you had Carmelita Jeter already in the group. And that's when I first met her. And that's how we became like literally lifelong. She schooled me. She was like oh yeah.
No nonsense.
And that's another thing. Like when I met Carmelita, she had literally 2 weeks prior had earned her medal. So we really met at the time. And that following season or two, I learned my medal. So we literally always talk about like we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together when we met. So yeah, Larry Wade.
I did not know, because I mean that is, for people that don't know track, that is a big name. That's like saying you train Boogie Johnson nowadays. Like, you know what I mean? It is like, that is a group that is exclusive, invite only type like training group.
Yeah, he's a big deal. So yeah, if you know track and field, then you think Maurice Green, John Drummond, Otto Bolden, all that group, Tori Edwards, Ingrid Miller. Those are old school names. But John Smith, who is the legend. John Smith would be like a modern day. I don't know. I guess they're kind of all Kersey, but he's been doing it since the beginning. So
yeah, say Kersey's been around forever.
Oh, you gotta check his birth certificate. He's still ticking.
Right? Like how he's been coaching since we've been alive.
And for those young viewers, Kersey coached his wife, who now coaches Sydney McLaughlin and Allison Felix, who coached. Get on Google and look up who he's coached. He's touched everything great.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, like you see all these times that these people are dropping nowadays, like records are constantly being broken. I know there's improvements of training, there's improvements of spikes. I mean, was it just a mix of that in your opinion? Because I mean, looking at this shit, I'm like, man, I'd be slow as shit compared. But I mean,
like you said, so you mentioned it. I was number 2 all time at USC at one point for like years. Myself, Virginia Powell, Jessica Anya Panuca, and Carol Rodriguez, who's a Puerto Rican Olympian, for that deal. Like we were USC 4x1. And now I'm like, damn, like, can you still see our names?
Y'all are number 8 on the all-time list, because I definitely went and checked the media guide.
That was 42 seconds. And you're talking about
and I noticed every team above y'all was like 10 years later. It's just wild.
So I think there was something, as I was closing out my career, was just kind of like changing of the guards. And I think that just kind of has those phases in any sport. Track and field, it's just like you can hold on a lot longer than you can in most sports. But yeah, there's just stuff like people doing cryo. I'm like, nigga, we was in the ice bath. If you don't get your ass to the hotel, ask the guy for the little garbage bags and go take an ice bath. I got to do cryo. I got to get my legs up. So, there is definitely the advancement in technology, the spike. The
tracks.
You might as well run in outer space with no gravity.
That new Oregon track has got to be. I mean, everyone dropped a fucking PR on that shit. Like, god damn.
So yeah, not to mention untraceable performance enhancing drugs that I guarantee people are using right now.
Right, like something that we don't even know about is out there.
And I think also when I look even at my career, like I like to eat Haagen-Dazs at night. Like I was doing it. If I was running late to practice, Larry Wade would be like, make sure you eat. And I'm gonna go through the McDonald's drive-thru and grab a number 2 at a hash brown and be vomiting after. Nowadays, I see people going to the track and they've meal planned and they've hired a this. And I'm like, there was something different about just going out there raw with your talent, where now if you don't have the upper edge, if you don't have a meal plan, if you don't have a nutritionist, if you don't have that, like, it's going to be hard for you to compete unless you're in Jamaica running out rocks and just got to, you know what I'm saying? So all of those factors definitely play a huge part, I think, in people's performances.
It does, but yeah, it's definitely where you're like, you watch your name like drop down. I did hold on to the Penn State's all-time top 5 in the 500 meters and 600 meters for a good amount of
Hey,
years afterwards. So my junior year of college, we ran Big Tens was at Michigan, and I saw Clarissa Codrington's dad there.
oh yeah.
And I was like, hey, guess what event I'm running? He was like, oh, the 60. I was like, I'm running the 600 because it's a Big Ten event. He was like, what? I was like, it's like, well, they moved me up to the 4, when I got there. And then my training partners, Shayna Cox and Dominique Blake were both Olympians
Hey,
in the 400. So all of a sudden it makes it a lot harder to make a final when you're number 3 on your own damn team. So I got my own event.
will you actually, I know this is your show, but will you touch on
Yeah.
that a bit? Because every kid comes to me and says, I'm a sprinter. And I'm like, if you don't wake out of bed fast, you're a 400-meter runner. So can you talk a little bit about?
I absolutely can, because so apparently I did not know that my dad in Westfield had a conversation when I was like in 8th grade or freshman year where he was like, your daughter will never make a state final in the 100. Your daughter is a 400-meter runner. But
Really?
he like, because most of our, like, it was easier for him to train people in the 400, a little bit harder for people to like, train, you can't make 100-meter speed, right? And so it was like,
Will you say it again?
you can't make 100-meter speed. You're either
Amen.
fast
Thank
or
you.
you ain't. Like, like you can put in 1,000 hours of practice and you're still gonna be slow. If you ain't got it, you don't have it. If you don't have that fast
Let
twitch,
the church say amen.
amen. But it's like Westfield was like, your daughter is a 400-meter sprinter. But he let me play in the 100 because I could always score points and this and that and this and that. And then it was like when I did make the state finals, he was like, guess I misspoke. He actually admitted, and here's the thing, my dad never told me because my dad, my dad, he is like, but like Westfield had told me my senior year that I was going to be switching to the 400, and I was so worried about it. That's when I popped off at Lavana Martin and pretty much like set a PR like the first like meet of the season. He was like, we'll see how this goes, is pretty much like what he said. And so he let me, but he was like, he told me, he was like, if you want to run the 100 and the 200 in college, you have to go to a smaller conference. It's like, if you're going to run if you want to run the 400, or if you want to go to a bigger school, you have to move up to the 4. And so that's what he really sold me at the time on Tulane's program, because they constantly had an All-American 4x4 program. And so it was like, but that was Westfield's driving. That was Westfield saying that you are going to be a 400-meter runner. Even though and then it was like senior year Midwest Meet of Champions. They were going to put me in the open 100 and the 4x1, and Westfield said, no, she's running the 4x4. I was like, no, I can't have this moment.
So just hearing you say that, like, I don't claim, like, I had Brian Westfield and Larry Wade. God literally had people prepared to pour into me. So when I tell these kids this, I'm like, bro, I'm telling you because I want you to be great, even greater than me. Like, you're not a 60-meter run. Go out there and dog that 400. Everybody loves to see the 4x4. And even when Westfield turned me into a hurdler, he was like, one day he was like, hey, like, why don't you try this? And I was like, okay. I think there was a sense of, I just trusted him and I was a little bit off the rails. So the impulsivity of hurdling made sense for me.
Yeah.
But I also dueled in the 100 and the hurdles. I got athletes right now that I say, run the hurdles and the dash, run back to back, run them back to back. Oh, I don't know. Then go find yourself a new coach, because just hearing you say 20 years later, like just being able to trust in your coach at such a young age, you went to Penn State. You understand what I'm saying?
I went to Penn State to run an event that I had ran less times than I can count on both of my hands. Like, I guess in summer track, it was mostly 4x4s. I ran so few open 400s. So like the first, 4 times I ran the 400 my freshman year, I threw up afterwards because what am I doing? What am I doing out here? And guess what? I made the outdoor Big Ten finals in the 400.
Say it again.
Pretty much my first year. I didn't make it in the indoor, and I think because I was a little scared, then I was like, oh, I could have totally made the finals. And so I did in the outdoor season. The indoor, I have a Big Ten gold medal from the distance medley relay.
And that's another, you know what? You're right. Because there's always going to need somebody to run that 400 on that distance medley. So I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, and because I didn't make the open 4, it was like, but we were putting some dogs on it, and then we won. My sophomore year, I tried to do indoors. I tried to do the 400 prelims and finals, DMR and 4x4 over 2 days.
And you know what? You would have been one day like Michigan State meet. You would have been all right. 2 days was too much recovery.
It was too much recovery, and let me tell you, it was like. DMR got 4th. I was like, I'm only give medals to 3rd. The open 4, I ran the exact same fucking time in the prelims and in the finals, and my place didn't move up. I was like, and the 4x4, 4th. I was like, all this. I mean, yes, I got some points. Fourth, and 4th, and 8th.
Right there.
But I was like, I want my fucking medal. And I never got another Big Ten medal besides my very first season now I did get the team medal, but man, multiple 4. I had a lot of relays get 4th, 5th, like, damn.
I know the feeling.
But yeah, it was like, and then that's the thing too, like for your young athletes, don't be afraid to try new events. You know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid to try new events. Part of the reason
that's what I'm saying. Like, I wasn't always a hurdler. I was in the long jump. I was in the 200, and that was good. And had I probably stuck with it, like the 200, something I think I would have always liked to do. But the hurdles they became my jam. And honestly, when I look back, like what he did was he gave me versatility. So if I was playing football, it's like I could play nose and I could play center. I could play receiver, or I could play or cornerback. I can play both sides. So being able to be a hurdle, that meant I could always be on a 4x1. I've been on international 4x1s, pop off,
damn fucking straight. Yep.
I made good money. I made $10,000, which in the track world back in the day was good cash.
In today's money, that's 50 grand.
Money, that would be 15,000.
I know, right?
In 41 seconds, I made $10,000 just because I can hold a relay together. So when people tell me I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm like, you know what? You do you, because I make $0 if you do what you do. You feel me? So yeah, I appreciate that tidbit.
And it really is. It's like, if you're on a team, what is going to be the best for the team, right? Not just for yourself, but also for the team. Like, is it smart for Penn State to put 3 people in the open 4, or put 2 in the 4 and 1 in the 600 indoors? Because all of a sudden it's part of its strategy. And for me too, like I tell this to Shayna all the time, like, I went from being the top open 400 runner at Penn State, obviously on the 4x4 because Consuelo Moore was on there. That's my fucking girl. Dog. But yeah, coming in with Shayna and Dominique, first of all, best training like group, ever. But it was like, yo, I don't want to be, at best number 3 in my team, So it was like I was coming off an injury, so I wasn't doing as much speed work. So it was like, give the 500 a try. And I was like, this is actually not terrible. It was just come through in 56 point or 56 to 56.5 and just hold on.
And I think just even with that mindset, like you probably can like take it back. But like with Westfield, the workouts, like college coaches tell me now, and one of my athletes who's getting recruited, she might be listening. The coach said, I'm giving you more because you're coming from her. And that's because my pedigree knows that the toughness that I'm giving you out here, I don't care if it's 3 300s or 6 repeat. You're going to be ready to step on a college campus and say, let's go for the 500 because we were trained with that. And that's something that many people are
my only major individual championship in college was New Balance invite at the Armory. I won the 500 because Shayna and Dominique were in the 4, Brianna was in the 8. So all of a sudden it's my own fucking event. Holler. So yeah, go to ECACs. You know, I'm like, I think I got fifth at ECAC or something, like all these things. And so yeah, Big Ten has a 600. Well, a little bit better in the 500 than in the 600, but it was like, it was still, you know, the ability to like, all right,
Yeah.
let me. And the first time I tried to run that 600, I went out too fast. That's when you know you're not scared. Like legit, I was like, I think my first 200 was like 26. They were like,
Oh, shit.
because it felt so easy. You know what I mean? It felt so easy. But yeah, it was like finding that sweet spot of, you know, how to run it. I ran some 4x8s. Those were always entertaining.
Oh yeah, I never
Yeah.
made it that far. I never made it that far. 4x4. I ran a 4x4 to UCLA dual meet. I ran the 400 meter hurdles at UCLA Pac-12s, well Pac-10s, what Big Ten realignment, whatever it was.
Whatever the hell, yeah.
I ran that boy. I've won the USC UCLA dual meet in the 400 meter hurdles with no seat time, just because I'm like not finna lose this. So go ahead and limit yourself if you like. I'm the wrong coach for you.
Right. I did try the open 8. That didn't go very well.
Oh yeah, and I think that's a whole nother beast. That 800 is
the open. It's like that initial like merge of all this, like where you have to decide, are you going to go or are you not? And I think the reason for me too was like the winning time in that race was like a 2:04. I am not a 2:04 800 runner. So if you would put me in a race where like the winning time was like 2:10, like I probably could have dropped to 2:11. You know what I mean? But like 2:12. I think I split like 2:13. You know what I mean? I didn't know what I was doing. And so when the lead pack is too fast for me, it was just like, oh, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I tried and it didn't go well. But you know, you just sometimes you just got to give some shit a try, and that's how you learn. Like, okay, my limit is 600. Let's bring it back down to the, you know. Also, I didn't like it, and that was another thing. Like the 600, I didn't mind it. Indoors, it's smaller, so you're just going around 3 times. You can always your 800. You're on that big ass track and that backstretch. You don't know. No, you're in no man's land. The things going through your mind are like, I don't.
Well, that's why I had to go out and recruit a dog ass 800 meter coach, because I'm like, just run that boy, just go get him. And I'm like, I don't really know what that feels like on that 8th 200. So I'm gonna need somebody that can. So that's a whole nother beast.
Yeah, it is. So I hinted at, I think your favorite medal is, but I'm not sure. Is your favorite medal your world indoor silver medal?
I feel like it should be.
Do you have another one that you like more?
I don't know. I mean, this sounds so corny, but like I was really geeked up when I got my driver's license because it gave me freedom. So people are like, what's the highlight? And I'm like, man, when I got my driver's license. Like,
but that's not like a medal that you won at a track meet.
I know. I think honestly, the best medal I ever got, and this might be rough, but it was like when I won the Nike championships in high school. I got a medal and I got a medal. And I say that because like, again, there's no cryotherapy. There's no meal prep. Like I went out there, I barely made it snuck into the final. I was running against girls from like Texas. Again, you're right. These are seniors and I'm a baby. And I barely made it into the finals and Landover, Maryland. My mom was like, let's just get on the plane. She didn't even make the finals. Made it in lane 2, came out. I had mono from somebody that had mono on the team that came to practice that didn't know they had mono, and we were sharing water bottles. We'll touch on that in a second.
Westfield made me go to practice and run in a meet when I had mono. My mom about cussed his ass out when she realized that I was sick.
So Nike Indoor Championships, I hadn't trained in like 16 days. I wasn't feeling well. I'm like, I'm going to this. I had never been. Long story short, I end up winning the track meet out of lane 2, beating some dog girls from Dallas, some dog girls from United. And I was like, that feeling stuck with me forever. You know what I mean? I remember just being so tuned in. I slept upside down the whole night because Westfield and the legs. So that really was just like, there was no cryos. I wasn't even doing ice fast then. It was just in my heart. So to win that championship, and now I go back to that meet and everyone says, I remember you run out of lane 2. You won out of lane 2. So my indoor medal, I was a little bit pouty and I shouldn't have been because Lolo Jones ended up winning. And at the time I didn't realize how great Lolo Jones was. So
Fair.
I just saw that I got second and I was like, but I trained so hard. I should win every race. And nah, doc, you just beat like a Sweden, a Spaniard, a this, a that. And that probably when I look back and I see people that have had careers longer than me and then they don't have any medals. And some are like, bro, you have a medal. And I'm like, I guess that's a big deal because it doesn't just that moment. It's a US Indoor Championship 3 rounds, the World Championship another 4 rounds, traveling to international. So there's so many components that go into getting a medal. When you see my girl Allison Felix fight on USC with countless, you like, damn, you a dog. So, but like she said, I think her bronze medal coming back off of maternity meant the most to her. So being able to have that genuine connection with like the training, the growing pains, the maturity with an accomplishment, like that's where it is.
You know, there's someone told this to me and I was like, it makes a lot of sense. They've done research that people that get bronze medals actually have a higher, they're happier than people get silver. Because silver, you're disappointed that you didn't win. Bronze, you're happy you got on the podium because if you hadn't, you would have been fourth. Worst place ever. Thanks.
And I absolutely, this will be a real authentic moment. I have always been a silver medalist. I've been an NCAA runner-up. I've been a world runner-up. I've been a USA champion runner-up. I've always been like just edged out. And to hear you say that, like with the psyche, part of that is what kind of like kept me going. I never felt short because I didn't get gold, but you're right. There's something about being in between that it's like, damn, if I'm third, like I squawk in, but second, so
I could have won.
It's a tough space to be, because it's not like the Stanley Cup, you just win the whole damn thing. This is, but yeah, to hear you say that, it definitely is. It takes a special individual to take silver and be happy with it.
Well, I mean, look at Ry Benjamin at this year.
Yeah.
But that's different because he was like, he needed surgery like the next day. I mean, this guy who was like, you know, I shouldn't even be out here. Yeah. But yeah, to see his reaction from the Olympics of getting silver, of just pure disappointment, to this year of that, like, but then when he saw his teammate get bronze, he was even happier. It was wild.
What's happening now is like we see so much and everything's in real time. So just being able to be like, we know as athletes what we're going through and training. Now the world knows what we're going through mentally. So the world is like, oh, you didn't get a gold medal. You put those labels on there. But as an athlete, as a coach, Nike puts those speculations off. Oh, you're pregnant and you're not going to get a medal. We're going to take your money. Yeah, Nike, I said it. I don't wear Nikes and I don't let any of my kids wear Nikes. And that's what it is. Whole nother conversation. But they put those labels, which then crushes like, oh, I only got medal. Nike's going to take 20% of your contract because you got silver. Another company like an Under Armour who loves women is going to be like, wow, you're celebrated. We're putting you on the podium, you know? So there becomes those where it's like, how do you enjoy your personal success when the world pretty much is like, oh, you were just the runner-up?
Yeah. Because it's like, what if you get silver and you set your lifetime PR? You know what I mean?
If you're at work and if you're at regular 9 to 5 work and you get runner up, you're that guy. You're the partner. You're a partner.
Right. Okay? Yeah. It's wild. Yeah. Track is there's only one.
If you're on the football roster and you're backing up Tom Brady, you're that guy.
You're this. Yeah. It's so wild, like how track is so cutthroat. That's why honestly, like a regular 9 to 5 job is like not easy. I mean, it's easy though, stress wise. It's like, okay. It's like no one's like, you know, there's no like limitation. You're not I'm like trying to like win or lose by this much. There's no pain. Yeah. It's just like that whole thing.
And when you don't want to see me in 9 to 5. I'm literally, you got 40 hours. I've accomplished the task in 16. So I'm just taking all of your money for the rest of the hours.
I mean, yeah, it's a different lifestyle. Like when I started working world, I was like, I have so much time during the day. It was wild because you go from morning practice to class to practice to homework.
Did I eat today or what?
And then all of a sudden you just go to a job and you're done at 5. You're like, huh. What?
Oh, now I can work remotely? Is that, that's okay.
What, it's it's just so wild. Like I have so much free time. That's why I'm doing stuff like making podcasts and doing races and climbing walls. And it's like, I feel there's nothing more weird to me than to like end my day at 5 and have nothing to do. It's like,
I'm the guilty of the overcommit. Like when people tell me ask my athletes when they be like, oh, I'm tired. I'll be like, wait, so you mean I bathed, took care of 3 other humans, managed an entire day, came and coached you for free, and I still have another 3 hours of living I have to do to support other humans. You tired? Yeah, I don't really understand. So there's definitely, which I'm sure you do, a sense of overcommitment that I'm guilty of at all times. I way overcommit myself. But you're right. The idea of having free time you might want to check my mental health.
I get bored, like, and I'm not taking care of humans, I just have my pets, but like, honestly, so what was it? I think last Sunday, I was trying to rest. Like I did a DECA fitness event the day before. I knew I was tired. My body hurt in places. I wasn't going to work out. I'm like, I called my mom, like, I'm bored. Like I watched Netflix for a few hours. I'm like, all right, now what do I do? It's like I cannot. It's like if I am done at 5 o'clock and I had nothing to do, because it's usually like I'm volunteering, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, because if Absolutely. I do like a morning workout or a midday workout, because I have other shit to do at night, so I do not know what the fuck to do with myself at 5 o'clock if there is nothing else going on. And like, how do people not work out? How do people not have extracurriculars in their life? Like, what do you do? I don't get it. How can you just sit on the couch and watch TV? I get so bored. Like I have to be exhausted to watch TV.
Absolutely.
I gotta earn that shit, man.
I say it. The worst is if I come to practice and I did nothing all day, my kids finna have it. They finna have it because that means they already know I'm not warming up and I'm running with them, or I'm running the last 150 of the 400. I'm dragging you through it, and I hope they're listening because they already. So yeah, there is a bit of like. How about, do you feel like when you work out, like, I just want to be a normal person, like at the gym doing like normal stuff, like on my cell phone, lifting weights, doing that. And when I go to the gym or these places, I just go straight to like, oh, I got to be elite. So I'm working on trying to find the balance with being not so aggressive, elite in the weight room or wherever I'm at.
No, that ain't me. I go to a very well-known bodybuilding gym, but I don't do bodybuilding. So, because I train for Spartan races, I climb. So I'm that person like doing all the crazy circuits and carrying shit and I'm that person.
I just don't know because I even, and I'm not saying this, but I even flirt with, I think this year I'll become eligible for masters. So I'd be flirting with it. I'm not too far off it. And I'd be like, I will bust you down right now. Like, do not play. But then I'm like, I like to eat Haagen-Dazs at like midnight. Then my husband be like, who ate the rest of it? And I'd be like, yeah, it was me. Like, I went 12 years and didn't do it. All right, I can do it now. So yeah. I'm like, now I'm not trying to get the Haagen-Dazs. I'll take a sponsorship Haagen-Dazs. I like it at midnight. Just saying.
Right. Shoot. Now I was telling my girlfriend, like, cause she coaches track. I was like, if I did masters, I'd probably want to do a different event because I want her to teach me how to long jump. I don't know. I've never done it. Like that's like one of her specialties. I'm like, maybe just do a long jump or something like.
Yeah, you got quick fit speed.
Yeah, like something different. So I'm not comparing like times and like I ain't running that 400. I do want to be the old people at Penn Relays running the 100 where everyone cheers because it's so cute.
Oh yeah.
Where you're like, but like, I mean, today I was on the track. I ran 10 by 200 meters and I was only doing them in like 45 seconds because that is like what I'm trained. You know what I mean? It's a different mindset. People are like, oh, it's fast. I'm like, that is not fast at all. But I mean, it was short break, but it was still like, I had to like switch my mental, like, all right, if I want to get my body used to running 6-minute mile speed, I need to like figure out exactly how to run 6-minute miles. Because basically I want to do, there's this thing, DECA Fit. I want to do a team event for it. So I have a woman who I want to do the fitness zones. Like she's a CrossFitter and I just want to do the running. So it would be a 5K, but broken out into 10 by 500 meters.
Oh,
And
that's
so with
dope.
2 minutes rest in between, that wouldn't be till next year. So I'm like, I bet you I could
A whole
probably
year to
run.
train for something? Oh, I could do
Well,
that.
yeah, I'm thinking like, I bet you I could run like an 18-minute 5K if you break it up into like 10 rounds of 500 meters. So, but it's like, all right, I got to teach my body how to run 6-minute mile pace. But it's that sprinter, right? Because most people would train at like a 5K and then take the rest. No, I'm training this shit like 10 by 500 meters, as in this is what we're doing. We are not doing it as a 5K. I'm not running a 5K. I'm not running an open 5K.
I'm not running anything that my ancestors had to run forever just because. So let me just put that out there. They're like, oh, no, they was running 500 miles barefoot on alligators and all types of stuff. They did that for me. I'm just gonna keep it nice. Repeat 150s, nice little 50s on the turf. Hit some bleacher stairs and some burpees in the sand, and I'm calling that it. So I will cheer for you. I will have some water in those like silver things they wrap around people at the finish line. I'll have that.
I love it. I love it. I won't do like a regular 5K, but I will do the Spartan races because you're running, you're climbing. And that you should do one with me. The stadiums especially were super fun. But yeah, it's just like doing something, and there's different things going on. So mentally, there's like this and that. You're not just like running a goddamn 5K looking at your watch. Like,
not for me.
No, it ain't for me. It's and then it's like, the funny part is people are like, oh, like, what are you running your miles in? And I'm like, oh, yeah, like 8-minute mile pace for like 8 mile. Like, doesn't seem impressive to me at all. They're like, that's so fast. Like, I've never run an 8-minute mile. And I'm like, well, I'm comparing myself to people that were like D1 distance runners. Like, they are running so much faster than that. Like, I know women, like personally know women that like run marathons in like 240. You know what I mean? It's like, they would laugh at my cute little pace and say, good job, Cher. Why don't you go back to that 400 where you belong? All perspective. we don't run in normal circles. You know what I mean? We cannot. This is why we can't relate to average people, or like not like regular people.
No, you can call them average, because when they tell me I'm tired and I'm this, I'm like, you did what? Like, your ancestors did nothing. My ancestors did a whole bunch. I'm tired, and I'm still going to do far more than you. So that's enough of a motivation for me.
I love it. I love it. I know I'm getting close to your bedtime, but you're like,
because I'm on the East Coast. You're on the West Coast.
No, I'm not on the West Coast. I'm in Central.
Oh, you're Central. Sorry, that's a whole. You're so close, but it feels so far away.
I know, it's only a few hours away. But what is on the horizon for Candice? Personally, professionally, I know you're going to keep coaching, but do you have any? You know what? Hold on. No, time out. I missed a whole big piece of your life, because you gave birth to a child, and then you went and you qualified for the Olympic trials in 2016. That in itself is, and I know it's probably disappointing because you never did make the Olympic team, but to come back after time away, after having a damn kid, being, old, and still, it's hard to qualify to make the trials.
It is. And Allison is my girl. Like, she's my girl. So the journey that she has embarked on, and quite a few athletes, I was doing it, and it just wasn't supported, right? It just wasn't like, oh, you'll never come back. And then I married an NFL football player. So it's like, why would she ever come back? What does he have anything to do with? Like, he was 100% like supportive. And I was like, yeah, so I still want to run. Why can't women drop babies in the cotton fields and went back to work? They can't come back on the track. Sorry, that was extreme. But the idea, the idea of being able to come back was a huge accomplishment for me. And I never wanted my daughter to feel like I didn't do it because of her. So like the baby weight or the knot. And I did. I came back and I qualified for Olympic trials, and I had a son, and I came back and I qualified again. And again, I think there was anyone that is a mom in track and field. And we're talking about the hurdles. I'm not dogging any event, but the hurdles are a lightning feature of track and field. It's not the 8 or even like a 4. It's a very different. It's a cadence. It's a speed. It is hard to do. Nia Ali has perfected it, but with challenges. Being
Coming
able,
back from having a third kid, I think she's
well,
coming
we've had
back.
conversations. I remember when she first was pregnant and she reached out, and she was a freshman when I was a senior. We overlap, but we're good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I just, I can't breastfeed because I said, girl, if you don't breastfeed that baby, well, I'm going to have, I said, take care of your child.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's just very, very hard. Mentally, it's hard because I literally was breastfeeding my child at the track while I'm getting ready to go. So when you have your competition and you have other things, they don't have those same challenges. And then you have agents that aren't supporting you. You have companies that are cutting your money. So you're like, damn, just because I had a baby. So there became some personal vendetta within me that was like, regardless of how you put me on your board, how you see me as an accomplished track athlete, I can stand in the world. And the third child I had at home with nothing. So
Crazy.
All of those encompass me being able to be like, try me. What is it? What is it that I can't do, that I won't do, that I haven't tried? So yeah, looking back, it's like you should totally have kids from 21 to 23, and then you can live the rest of your life normal.
You haven't hit your peak yet, technically.
I know, right? So yeah, my children, I got Gianna, that's 9. I got Zion, that's 4, and I got Bruin, who is 3. 2. He's 2. He'll be 3. Yeah.
Close enough.
So it's like, your name, you know who I'm talking about,
Right? Shout out to my kids.
Adulting, parenting, not so great at that, but my kids don't know any different, so all they know is me, so we're good. And honestly, my husband, you would look at the two of us, he is the true, like, gets up in the middle of the night, make sure like they have their food, was doing bottles, diapers. Even when he was playing, he always made that a priority. I was kind of like, yeah, I got practice at 4 a.m, so just tighten them up. So it's definitely a balancing act there.
I love it. And yeah, it was, when I had Tiffany on here, she was talking about going to Tokyo, to was that a year post having her child and being away from her kid because she couldn't take, Tokyo was on lockdown for the Olympics, just all that went into there. And it is so inspiring, right, to see so many women having children and then dominating track, because that was not a thing. It was like once you had a baby, it was like your career was bye.
And you know what? It is not just in track. They do it in life.
Corporate world, you get put on that mommy track, and forget promotions because she's not going to want to go to the after hour happy hours, and she's not going to want to do this, and it's like really seeing it in every different arena, playing out, and then seeing women coming back, and it's like Allison Felix, obviously what she did, Tiffany Feely, what she did, but and Nia as well. But it's like just like watching you, like you didn't necessarily make the Olympic team, but you had your kids, and you were like, yeah, I'm still going to be on this track. Like I might be past my peak, but like.
And I think when I look back, there was a lot
to do it.
When you talk about Tiffany in Tokyo, I remember going to Budapest and FaceTiming my 6-month-old baby. I remember, and I'll be just very honest, like having engorged breasts in another country because I had breast milk, and there's a sense of guilt. So I unfortunately, like those all play into your elite mindset because you can't turn off those biological things. And looking back, like you wouldn't change one bit of it. They have been a huge part of my story. And there's other parts of it that it was like track and field gave me so much, but I didn't love it more than like loving my life. And part of my life became like meeting my husband and wanting to have little humans with them. That became the love more than any competition or medal. Because when you ask what my favorite medal is, it's still what it was in high school. What you do, and it sucks because if I lived in Great Britain, or if I lived in Tokyo, if I lived in Japan, if I lived in Canada, I would be a big deal. But in America, we only care about the Olympics every 4 years. We only care about track and field every 4 years. Allison Felix is breaking through that. And I think Sydney McLaughlin is going to be huge because she's gorgeous and she's talented. Hopefully start to break in different ways. But yeah, it's not embraced. And now we see Allison, I respect her. But had Nike done me the way they did her, I would be acting like Colin Kaepernick on one knee all day. Definitely, she's setting the precedent, and as she should.
Yeah, I love to see it. It's inspiring, you know what I mean, for because yeah, we need to see women do it, and we need to see women too, like having kids and saying, yeah, I don't want to compete anymore. That's fine too.
It's fine, but you also need to see having the right partner. So my husband had an awesome, career, was, God bless his heart, at UCLA Bruin.
I know, I see the thing on the back of your wall, like, oh, how do you live with that?
He supported that for me. So if you're going to have a spouse that's going to be like, nah, you're finna take care of this baby. No, then it's not going to work. If you're going to have a family that's like, yeah, you need to think about motherhood. I need to think about the balance. Women for centuries have been ruling countries, have been ruling nations, have been ruling empires, birthing children. Women are in other countries without hospitals, birthing babies in Amazon and still figuring it out. So when we start to not underestimate the power of the woman, we'll be straight. But part of it is that they got to do that because men are, they on the struggle bus a little bit. Man, but you got to have the right partner.
You do, and I mean that's what Tiffany was saying too with Jeff Porter, like, how. I mean, he was our coach too, and it was just like to have that right partner. So I love to see the comeback for you. It was a pleasure watching you, come back, and it was like, she's still on the track, Mom, Dad, she's still on the track. I love it. But now asking you the question, I'll just ask, what is on your, horizon? Like, I mean, you were on TV during the Olympics doing broadcasting. Are you looking to do more broadcasting? Are you just taking what comes at you? What is on your personal professional horizon?
Yeah, I keep trying to stop coaching. So like every year I'm like, oh, it's the last one. And then another one comes. And then I like,
Westfield said that too. So good luck. I'm pretty sure people said that as well.
And I get a Jada Wilson and a Cameron Flowers. Oh my gosh. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to coach as long as, I shouldn't say that. Right now I'm coaching, I'm invested, and I got plans to win a state championship for Ann Arbor Huron. I will say that. I have been recruited by our local NBC affiliate to start doing some sportscasting. And I've been I haven't really broke the news yet. It's exciting. Exclusive. She said what she said. I've been in training for about, I would say almost 2 months, because all of the stuff I've ever done is live, sidelining, which I'm fantastic at. But teleprompting and studio work is very, very different. People actually go to school and get actual journalism degrees.
Yeah.
Keyboard like, and how, Reyes, Baez, I know that. So I am working on that, and hopefully in the next few weeks you'll be able to see me doing some stuff in Michigan. So I'm waiting for an epic post. She said it here first, and So that would be fantastic for me. The broadcasting has filled a huge void in competing. And I love talking. I love being on TV. I love the lights. I love people, and authentically, I love to hear their stories. So I'm looking forward to reporting golf, baseball tonight, or college football. I went to
doesn't matter.
So it does not matter. I don't discriminate. Whatever the dollars are green, let's do it,
girl. I mean, hey, this is why I have my whole show, because I love to hear the stories of women. You know what I mean? It's
badass women is what you
said, right? Badass women, and sports and beyond, because there are some that, look, you don't have to be an athlete. I just focus on sports, but I've had women on here that nothing to do with sports, and I have women on my horizon that I want to get on here. Not a damn thing with sports, but if you're an attorney for the ACLU and win all these wars, I want to hear it. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many avenues that women are kicking ass in.
Absolutely. And I look at it, and if it wasn't for Brian Westfield and track, I would not be a badass female. I would be a troubled female in these streets. He was able to harness all of this and manifest that energy into being like this productive. There are plenty of women out there that do not have that guidance, and they just get caught in a cycle. So part of a large reason why I coach, like, I want them to be fast and be great. They're not all going to be Olympians. I don't need you to be Olympian, but I need you to be a better human for the world. And like, I got a whole group of them around me, and so.
I love it. Our final thing so in my high school yearbook, which I have my senior year yearbook, do you recognize this handwriting?
Dear Sherry.
It's a letter.
What does it say?
It's a letter that you wrote to me.
Oh my goodness.
When
Read
I
it.
graduated, and I brought this to read. I promise I won't cry, because I was reading this like yesterday and I was about to cry. Okay. Dear Sherry, this letter may seem kind of strange, but I really felt the need to write it. I will try and make this short and sweet and to the point. Over the years, we have been through many things, good and bad, and we made it through. Sorry, I'm not good at reading out loud. We're talking about the
spelling, so you're probably having to read it. I'm not good at spelling.
No, it's good. We got there. There have been many times when our heads have bumped and ideas have collaborated. I can count endless times where we have said things to each other or behind each other's back and truly meant it or not. Facts. What I am trying to say is I'm really going to miss you. Not our issues, but you. I am truly glad we have got to spend the last 5 or 6, whatever years together. I cannot say I regret the things that I said, and I don't think you can either, but it's over. I wish you the best in everything and want you to be happy. Good luck in life and all that you do. You have been the sister that I never really got along with, but was thankful to have. I'll miss you so much, and we will keep in touch. Love always.
Ace Deuce for life.
Ace Deuce for life.
Oh my goodness. I love that.
I love
that you have that.
I put it in my yearbook. It's the only yearbook that I keep is my senior year one. And it's like a treasure little thing. It's been in there for 20 years.
On lined paper? Where did I get that from?
You legit were like, I need to write her a note. And I think you gave it to me before, like on the bus, the state track meet or something. And I was so touched when you wrote it, and I kept it. And I am very glad that I have been the sister that you never wanted.
I mean, listening to that, I feel, and now thinking of my track girls, like that combative sassiness that each of us, has, it's hard at our age to harness it right. We don't, we're like, oh, I don't like her. She said this, and it can be negative, but like, because we had the right people around us and because we had Westfield and other coaches that like harness our energy right, you're right. Like we bumped heads because we're sassy, because we're independent, because we want to challenge each other. But that was also the love, like I had seeing you go out there and dominate the 100 as a white girl. Like, yeah, that's my team. Pop off. You know what I mean? So that is
I held you to high standards, and I think you held me to high standards as well. And we both had our challenges personally, and it was a wild time. It was a very wild time, but I like hold on to that and I treasure it. And you are my girl for life. Even if I don't talk to you for, however many years, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We still talk about you. My family has nothing but like, because I mean, come on, if you talk about the biggest personalities on our team, you, me, B, like, come on now. Those were the first, those were the little wild child firecrackers who we all could have gone the wrong way in life, but
we could have been a gang in the wrong way together.
Ain't that the truth, man?
Like all that, like instead of she said what she said, it could be like behind first 48 hours, like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we were, and so it was what we needed. And I very much love you, and I'm very glad that you came and to chat with me.
Absolutely, my love runs deep for you, and I know everything is authentic, and I'm so glad that we shared moments and special, can't ever get back, never duplicated moments in life together.
Absolutely. When I hit end, Candice, don't run away because I still want to talk to you for a few minutes. Okay. But for this podcast,
this has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.
Bye.